Hello and welcome to How to Play Coronation, a game for 2 players. This game comes to us from Paget.com under the Invented section. It is a Kings in the Corner variation for 2 players. You'll need a deck of cards. You'll need to shuffle it and deal out 7 cards to each player. Then deal out a cross of 4 cards. If there are any kings, go ahead and put them in the corners and deal a 5th card. The player that is the non-dealer will start us off. They'll play cards, and to signal that their turn is over, they'll draw a card from the deck. When the draw deck runs out and empties, we'll just knock in that case. So we'll just keep going, and we'll move the cards as they need to be moved. This is pretty much Kings in the Corner with some different rules, some scoring rules. So as normal, you'll be playing off color, Kings in the Corner all the way down to Ace. If a player builds a stack all the way to Ace, they will have been considered the player that coronated that corner, and they will get 1 point. That's why we have the coins. There are theoretically 5 points in this game. 1 for emptying your hand, which will be known colloquially as slaying the dragon. Another point for coronating a corner, basically finishing it up. So since there are 4 corners, there'll be 4 points for that. And the player that slays the dragon, that empties their hand of cards, will then draw back up to 7. So supposedly that can only be done once in this game. And the important thing to remember is that you'll need to draw up as many cards in the deck as possible. So you only get 7 cards, but if you do it later on in the game, you might have less than 7. It might happen in your game. Every game's different. But this is a pretty good variation for Kings in the Corner. I love playing Kings in the Corner. This one felt kind of interesting, especially for 2 players. It adds some intensity to it. You know that one player is going to score more points than the other. So you can keep playing this game until you get to an agreed amount of points, say 10 points. First player to get to 10 points wins. Or you could do some other number, or you could play to a set number of rounds and see whoever has the most points wins. Maybe do 4 hands of this and see who has won the most points. And if it's still tied, do an overtime of some sort by playing another round and seeing who wins. You never know. The important thing to remember with all Kings in the Corners game, if you have a move, especially a king in hand, you are required to make it. Though you can leave a vacancy, though it's pretty much a strategic, obvious idea to always fill vacancies no matter what. But other than that, that's the only thing that breaks Kings in the Corner is players not playing cards that they are pretty much required to play. So if you have a move, you're required to play it. There's good faith efforts to see every move possible. Sometimes you'll miss them. That does happen. And once your move is over, of course, you have to draw a card. You cannot play a card that is drawn until your next turn. Other than that, pretty simple game. So we're going to see that we've already had one coronation occur, and that player has received a coin, symbolizing they received 1 point. There are only 5 points available in each game. So now we have a coronation for North. Actually, we don't, because that was not a red jack. So that coronation gets canceled. We take the coin back. We change turns. And we just keep going with it. We have a vacancy. We must fill it. So now we've seen that South has slayed the dragon. Therefore, they're going to draw back their hand to 7 cards. But there's only 3 cards left in the deck. So they're going to play them as needed. There's another coronation, so another point. And we have emptied our hand, and we can no longer proceed. So the round will be won by South 3 points to 2. So like always, if you actually want to play this game or any other card game that's not a solitaire, come to our subreddit card game meetups. Post your city, what public place you want to play cards at. That way you can play an opponent who is a stranger to you, but basically it's a friend you haven't yet met. Do click under the show more in the description to get a link to all sorts of things, the rules, any poetry mentioned in this channel, and a link to a Discord channel where you can talk about card games, dice games, domino games, and board games all day, every day. Do call up your friends, let them know you'd like to play some cards. You never know, they might say yes, they might say no, or they might be completely indifferent to the idea and just talk your ear off. But do like, subscribe, and share these videos with people you know like playing cards. Do vote in the Game of the Month poll. And I want to thank today's musician, and I'll see you next video.